Basketball was, the main reason why I was getting all this attention.
I think kids need to evaluate themselves. Everyone don't need the same thing. Something that I would change myself.
Time to move on to other things. I want to continue generating money for my family.
Before LeBron, before Zion, before cameras followed your every crossover from AAU to the draft stage, there were others. Players whose names were whispered like prophecy, whose highlights were passed around on VHS tapes and early YouTube clips like sacred texts. Kids who walked into gyms and stopped the game just by lacing up. They weren't just athletes, they were movements, symbols of what basketball could become. But not every chosen one reaches the mountaintop. Some fall, some fade, and some burn out before the world even gets to see the fire. This is the story of three players, Felipe Lopez, Sabastian Telfair, and O.J Mayo, who were supposed to change the game, but didn't. And it's not just about what went wrong, it's about what they represented, what they carried, and what the game took from them in return.
I really wasn't looking to, create a hype or anything else like that. I just saw a great opportunity for me.
Felipe Lopez wasn't just a basketball star, he was a cultural phenomenon. Born in the Dominican Republic and raised in the Bronx, Felipe became a symbol for Dominican youth across the U.S., especially in New York City. He brought a sense of pride and representation to communities that had never seen one of their own rise like this in the basketball world. At Rice High School in Manhattan, Felipe scored over 2,900 career points, becoming one of the most dominant guards in New York history. His athleticism, shooting, and charisma made him a must-see event. Crowds packed tiny gyms just to watch him drop 30 or more points with ease. He wasn't just the best player in the city, he was the story. The media couldn't get enough. By his senior year, he was not only the #1 recruit in the nation, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated before ever stepping foot in a college gym. The Dominican Michael Jordan, the cover read. It was praise that would become both a badge of honor and a weight he couldn't lift. Felipe chose to stay home and play for St. John's. It was a noble decision. He could have gone anywhere, Duke, Kentucky, UCLA, but he wanted to lift his city and give something back to the people who gave him everything. His freshman year was solid, 17.8 points per game, flashes of brilliance, and moments where it looked like a legend was living up to the hype. But the coaching carousel, media pressure, and expectations began to crack the foundation. Over 4 years, his college career slowly lost its shine, and scouts began to question his ceiling. Was he an undersized two-guard? Could he defend NBA wings, or was he too passive? He was selected 24th in the 1998 NBA draft by the San Antonio Spurs and traded to Vancouver. He played just 4 seasons in the league, averaging 5.8 points per game, and was out by 2002. Despite being out the league early, Felipe went on to become a community figure, working with international outreach and youth basketball programs. His documentary, The Dominican Dream, reframed his story from a fall to a journey. A reminder that even if you don't reach the mountaintop, the climb still matters. Felipe's story isn't about failure, it's about the system we place on young men of color, sometimes asking them to carry entire cultures, to live up to impossible headlines, and to be flawless on and off the court. And when they fall short, even slightly, the game moves on without them. To this day, Felipe is revered in New York, not for what he became in the NBA, but for what he represented to an entire generation. That said, he was supposed to change the game and didn't.
I think it's more important for these kids to think outside of the box of basketball.
Sabastian Telfair's story begins in Coney Island, a court, a city, and a family legacy. He was Stephon Marbury's cousin, but many thought he might be better. He wasn't tall, only about 6 feet, but his speed, handle, and court vision were unreal. He turned Lincoln High School into a national powerhouse, leading the team to multiple state championships and setting the all-time scoring record in New York City. Telfair wasn't just dominating the court, he was dominating the narrative. Slam magazine covers, ESPN features, and a full-length documentary called Through the Fire followed his senior year, capturing his family's struggle, the pressure to go pro, and the weight of what basketball meant for his future. He averaged 33 points and 9 assists his senior season, and when he declared for the NBA straight from high school, people debated it. He was small, the NBA was brutal, but to Telfair there was no choice. His family needed him. His neighborhood too, and college could wait. Life couldn't. Portland took him 13th overall in 2004. It was a gamble. Telfair showed flashes, quick crossovers, fearless finishes, but he struggled with consistency. His frame was slight, his shot streaky, and his decision-making shaky. Over the next decade, he bounced around the league like a pinball. Boston, Minnesota, Phoenix, the Clippers, Cleveland, and more. He was always on the cusp of something, but never quite broke through. His best NBA season just under 10 points per game. Then came trouble off the court. Legal issues, gun charges, and in 2019 he was sentenced to prison. Telfair wasn't just a kid with talent, he was a symbol of what New York basketball had become. Street legend turned pro under impossible circumstances. His failure wasn't just his own, it felt like the city's too. In truth, the NBA was never set up to develop someone like Telfair. They needed him to be ready from day one, and when he wasn't, he became expendable. His story is a reminder that not every star is given the same tools or time to succeed.
This is the first time in 10 years the NBA has banned a player like this for testing positive for a drug of abuse.
O.J Mayo had the kind of name that already sounded famous, and for most of his young life, he lived up to it. By the time he was in 8th grade, Mayo was being called the best prospect in the country. He was a YouTube star before YouTube had fully taken off. He transferred high schools multiple times to elevate his profile, and every stop came with championships and highlights. He was 6'5", strong, explosive, and polished beyond his years. In North College Hill in Ohio, he became a high school legend, winning Mr. Basketball twice, averaging nearly 30 points and bringing national attention to a school that had never seen that kind of success. He was even featured in Time magazine as the future of basketball. He committed to USC, a surprising move since he had offers from blue blood programs. But Mayo always moved differently. At USC, he averaged over 20 points as a freshman. Smooth mid-range jumper, crafty ball handling, and an aura of cool that seemed unshakable. He declared for the NBA draft in 2008 and was drafted 3rd overall. Traded to Memphis on draft night, Mayo started his career hot, dropping nearly 19 points per game as a rookie. He was efficient, confident, and looked ready to take over the league. But then things got murky. Rumors of locker room tension, benchings, and off-court distractions. In 2007, he was suspended for violating the league's anti-drug policy. His minutes dropped, and by 2016, he was dismissed from the NBA entirely after another violation. No team brought him back. He was just 28 years old. In interviews since, Mayo has spoken about his regrets, about being too young, too headstrong, and too caught up in the lifestyle. He still plays professionally overseas, trying to rewrite his legacy one game at a time. Mayo's story is one of untapped greatness, of how the NBA rewards maturity just as much as skill, and how even the brightest stars can dim in silence if the structure around them falls apart. 3 players, 3 chosen ones that were supposed to change the game. Felipe Lopez, the Dominican phenom, Sabastian Telfair, the Brooklyn savior, and O.J Mayo, the national prodigy. All 3 were supposed to shift the game's gravity. None made it past the first stage. But this isn't just about disappointment. It's about the environments that shape these stories, the system that elevates children into stars but offers no safety net when they stumble. In a world where kids are crowned before they can drive, we forget the cost. We forget what it takes to live up to the headlines. We forget that these aren't just players, they're people with families, fears, and flaws. And when the system eats them up and when the spotlight fades, we blame them. Rarely the agents, coaches, leagues, or media that built the pedestal. Felipe, Sebastian, and OJ were all more than stats. They were signs of how you treat youth, talent, and vulnerability in a billion-dollar sport. Maybe they weren't meant to change the game, but maybe the game needed to change for them. This was episode 1 of Supposed to Change the Game, a new series on Stunted Growth, revisiting the names that once had the world's attention and explore why they disappeared. If there's someone you think should be next, drop their name below. Who did you watch in high school or college and think he could change the game as well? Was it Lenny Cook, Ronnie Fields, Jonathan Bender? Let me know in the comments. One of them might be next. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.